So what I did was I started therapy. You know what I'm saying? I got a good therapist. You know what I'm saying? I was blessed enough to talk to some super spiritual people, and they made me realize one thing that I was missing in my life, and one thing I was missing was clarity. You know what I'm saying? I needed clarity, and clarity about who was around me, what I was doing. You know, even the music, which is like my happiness, my joy, that was always an escape for me, was starting to feel like a burden. You know, it was starting to feel like a job. You know, the relationships around me, people I was growing up with, you know, I had like a lot of toxic relationships around me. Even the relationship with my mom was like getting to a point where we wasn't talking like that. And it was just weird, you know, because that had never been like that with me and her. So I realized that it all started with me, and I had to analyze myself. I couldn't point the finger at anybody else. I had to point it at myself and, you know, nurture those relationships that were important to me, but most importantly, nurture the relationship with myself. So
If you're looking for an app as a black person and you want to connect with other black people, well, the Black Social app is here. It's an absolutely a great app on Android and Apple. And make sure y'all go and check it out, man. What's going on, everybody? It's Jaye Black here. I am back with another video. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about the video. You'll probably see a clip of it at the beginning of this one. And it's about Big Sean. Big Sean was talking about the last year and how he has been feeling mentally, you know, emotionally, spiritually, and the toxic relationship he had with Jhene, Aiko. Now, I can relate to Big Sean because he recently turned 30. I recently turned 30. And my mind, you know, has been sort of all over the place, I would say, over last year myself. You know, and I can relate a lot to what he was saying in that regards. Now, maybe not the toxic relationship, even though I've been in situations where I was in a toxic relationship. But as far as, you know, you going into a different chapter of your life, you know, I can definitely relate to that. I know a lot of other young men can relate to that as well. But I think we all need to look at what Big Sean was saying, because Big Sean is one of my favorite rappers. You know, he is. You haven't really heard much from him, you know, recently, especially over the last year or so. You know, not really heard much from him, and it was because of the situation he was going into. I think he was in a relationship with a female that he really wanted to be with, but then he realized that they just were not a good mix for each other, and he had to let it go. He had to let her go. You know. Now, and I said he was turning 30. Actually, he's turned 31. So let me make sure I have that correct. But a lot of us tend to deal with people longer than we should. Even though the signs are saying, you know, we need to cut ties with this person. They are not good for us. He even mentioned a video about energy. He talked about how he's big on that, and how, you know, he didn't feel right. And he felt like it was time for him to be on his own, or to be out of that situation. Now, let me go back to the beginning of how this relationship started, because this was very controversial. Jhene Aiko was married already. She wasn't even married that long. And then rumors started to go around that she was dating Big Sean, that she got with Big Sean. They both denied it. And she was still married to this guy, but she claimed that the guy was very physical with her, you know? And I guess that was her reasoning for leaving, because y'all know when these chicks want to get out of relationships, or they don't want to take any accountability, they're going to point to what that other guy did to them, you know? But be that as it may, she went from quickly getting married to quickly divorcing and getting with Big Sean. It happened very quickly, you know, very quickly. I don't think she wanted to be with that guy. I think that she was with him because he was a producer. But once she caught the eye of Big Sean, and Big Sean, you know, was good with being in a relationship with her, she got out of that. I think I mentioned that in my previous video. It might be the Johnny Manziel video I did. I'll put that in the comment, the link to that in the comment section, maybe in the description box. So how, I don't know, was it that one or was it another? It might have been that one. One of the two I did. where I talked about how women will, well, it was that one, because I talked about how a woman will deal with a guy, not, especially a female who is like an IG model, she'll deal with these guys, leech off of them for clout. And once she gets the opportunity, she's bailing, she's bailing. And that's what Jhene did to her then husband, that's what she did. And she got with Big Sean. Now, Jhene Aiko, she was married to this guy named Dr. Genius. Okay. They were married for 2 years. But once again, once she caught the eye of Big Sean, she was ready to leave that situation, and she got with Big Sean. So her and Big Sean are together, and it just seemed to me, from the outside looking in, it would seem like they have a good relationship. Everything is going good, but that's just the outside. That's the outside. And for the most part, I really believe, that Big Sean, his personality may not fit with hers. I think she may have a different personality behind the scenes, and that really can cause a situation to really be messed up. Because if you look at it like this, it wasn't just hit this relationship with Jhene. It was the previous relationships. Big Sean has had a lot of high profile relationships. He dated the girl from Glee. He also dated Ariana Grande before she became, the name that she is now. He was with her right before she kind of took off, Then he got with Jhene. So you look at his lineup of women, there are guys who may have been envious of that he was with not only women who a lot of men will say are attractive, they're in their prime physically, but also they have careers. The girl that was on Glee, she had her own career, even though you see that she's crazy. You had Ariana Grande, and then you had Jhene, and he basically was admitting to purposely being in those relationships, because they fit. He was willing to put up with them because of how they may have looked. I think that he got very attached to these females. You could tell. But you don't want to be in a situation where you allow people to drain your energy. You allow people. You don't want to allow people, to control you. And I think that some of those women may have had a level of control over Big Sean. I think Big Sean put up with them, like Jhene. He may have put up with her because of how she looks. You cannot be with somebody just because of how they look, because looks fade. And you can always find another attractive female. I'm pretty sure Big Sean wouldn't have that problem. As a matter of fact, I believe that there are reports that he is back dating Ariana Grande. Maybe he was happiest when he was with her. I don't know, but I don't know why you would go back there knowing that you've had toxic relationships, and you may have even include her in that, but maybe you was at your happiest when you were with her. But sometimes, especially as a man, you have to take care of your mental. And that's one of the big things I took away from Big Sean, is that you can tell his perspective as a more mature man, that he sees things differently than he did before. He's matured, he's grown up. He doesn't want to be in destructive relationships that are no good to him or anybody else, that are very toxic. When you have two people with two different personalities, two ways of thinking, you're dealing with the female who may think she's an alpha female. It's going to cause problems, especially if you have a personality that is more, low key. You're not very boisterous. You're not going to be yelling and screaming. And you have a female who's all about that. She has her own value system and what she believes in, and you have differently, and nobody's coming to the table. Nobody. So that's going to cause issues. And also, I think because Big Sean wasn't, I would say wasn't, but I truly believe if Big Sean would have proposed to her and sought to marry her, maybe that situation would have been less toxic. Because early last year, there were rumors that they had got engaged to each other, but it never manifested. And then you see late last year, that Big Sean had broke up with her. We still don't really know exactly when they broke up. Jhene got the tattoo that she had of Big Sean, the Big Sean tattoo she had, got it covered up. This was in November. And I think that's when they officially broke up, secretly, and then, well, not secretly, but more publicly. It might have been earlier than that. I truly think that he didn't want to be with her long term. She was not a long term, situation. And I think that's what made the situation toxic as well. I think that she was a prize that he was able to win. And once he won it, I think that the effort in that relationship wasn't there. And I think she noticed that. And that made that whole situation worse and worse. That's why, man, if you getting with these women who coming out of these marriages, man, they're not just going to want to date. Now, some of them want to be single and free. But you got other women, when they come out of marriage or relationship and they get with you and you're successful, you're well known, they're going to want to marry you. They're going to want you to propose. And if that doesn't happen, they're going to be looking for a way out. They're going to make that situation hard on you. So you have no choice but to either make a long-term commitment to them or leave them. That's why you cannot sell dreams to people. I'm not saying that's what Big Sean was doing. What I'm saying is you get in these situations when you sell dreams to these particular females. Now, I'm going to read a little bit from this article from TMZ real quick. Big Sean is marking his birthday by opening up to his fans about battling depression and anxiety, revealing how he coped with his issues and how he came out stronger on the other side. The Detroit rapper, who turns 31 on Monday, scrubbed his Instagram except for 3 new videos he posted late Sunday night, detailing a spiritual journey he took starting around this time last year on his birthday. Sean says he felt lost and stepped back from life to examine why. When his usual meditation wasn't working, Sean Don says he took the next step, getting himself into therapy and talking about his issues. I think a lot of people, especially a lot of black people, a lot of black men need therapy. Some of you may think you don't need therapy, but a lot of you do need therapy. And black women too, but I'm speaking to the brothers. Because a lot of us have either gone through some bit of anxiety or depression. We've dealt with some form of that, in our lives, or people that we know have dealt with that in their lives. His growing discontent with his work and the state of relationships around him, some of which he calls toxic. Turns out getting on the couch did the trick. I don't think it was just the relationships part that was toxic. I truly believe that the friends he had around him were toxic, the management, and just in general, I think that the people around him, were toxic. Maybe he was red pilling. We don't know. I told you, people red pill in society and don't even know it. We can red pill as far as not only relationships and dating, but also our friends, our family, work. We could choose to go in different career paths that make us happier as men. So those things could play a part into it as well. Sean says his therapist told him he needed clarity on who was around him, on what he was doing, and for what purpose. He explains that revelation put things into perspective and helped him reprioritize a lot of things in his life, which is good, which is very much so good. All right. So y'all let me know in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts on this video. If you're looking for an app as a black person and you want to connect with other black people, well, the Black Social app is here. It's an absolutely a great app on Android and Apple, and make sure y'all go and check it out, man.